Hello students and welcome to the e-learning program initiated by Shri Gyanmanjari Vidyapeeth for the students of Standard 9 in which we are learning the subject of English. Students, today we are going to start a new chapter in Moments, that is the supplementary reader. Chapter number 9 of Moments, the supplementary reader. Name of the chapter is The Accidental Tourist. The chapter is a personal experience of the author Bill Bryson. Of all the things that I am not very good at, living in the real world is perhaps the most outstanding. I am constantly filled with wonder at the number of things that other people do without evident difficulty that are pretty much beyond me. Now, this is a personal experience of the author himself. Yes, of the clumsiness that he feels at lots of things that we do on a day-to-day basis, daily routine basis, that seems very easy to us, but then it becomes too difficult for the author to do it. Yes, he's a simple, straightforward person, a family person, a family man, having wife, kids, all that. But then he does some of the things that we do routinely. It surprises him that other people do it with so much ease, but then he also always fumbles. He always gets confused. Yes, something to him that we do on a daily routine basis, it looks beyond him that I cannot do that, right? And that is where it's not about low confidence, it's not about the clumsiness he feels. Yes, it is something that he just when he stands over there in that situation, everything goes blank. He doesn't understand what's going on, right? So of all the things that I'm not very good at, that he admits right at the start of the chapter that he's not very good at things. And in the real world means that we live. It's not about fancy, it's not about dreaming, it's not something like a phobia, or he's not afraid of, he's not frightened of things, but what we do on a day-to-day basis. He's not very good at those things. Yes, he might be, suppose he might be very good at keeping his family safe, or he might be very good at loving his family members. He might be even very good at, he might be quite an expert in his job, in his field. Nobody can challenge him over there, right? But some other things that we do on a day-to-day basis, he says, he admits that he's not very good at. And living in the real world is perhaps the most outstanding. Outstanding means it just stands out, right? You can see that man fumbling somewhere, right, where people normally behave, people normally with a very ease, right, they do those things, perform those things. I'm constantly filled with wonder at the number of things that other people do without evident difficulty, right? Suppose we are climbing the stairs, right? Then we know we have to reach at fourth floor or fifth floor. Then it is obvious that whenever we climb the stairs, when we cross one floor, automatically our eyes tries to look at some indication which tells us where we are, right? So everywhere it's quite evident that we know, yes, because some numbering has been done over there, either on the rooms, either on the stairs, that this is second floor, third floor. Yes, we keep a lookout that we don't climb unnecessary steps and reach a destination that we are not supposed to, right? But he, suppose that he is climbing stairs, then he forgets where he is. We do it with quite a lot of ease, right? He finds it quite difficult. So that are pretty much beyond me. Now, what are those things? I cannot tell you the number of times that I have gone looking for the lavatory in cinema, for instance, and ended up standing in an alley on the wrong side of the self-locking door. Now, it's quite natural for us, right? When we go to cinemas, usually our Indian cinemas, they are on 3 hours long, right? Other places, Western countries, the movie is hardly 1.5 hours. Say, at the most 1 hour 45 minutes, 1 hour 50 minutes, right? And we spend some 2.5 hours over there. On the other side, in India, we already have quite long movies, right? So it takes us 3.5 hours, right? So 3 hours is quite a long time. We need to use the lavatory, yes, that is the washroom, right? So uh, whenever We come out of the theater. When we come out of the cinema hall, we look for lavatory. It is usually somewhere right on the sides, right? But we find it with lots of ease, right? Or either because when you come out of the cinema while the picture is going on, movie is going on, then outside also the staff won't be available in that. They are found in the recess time, interval time. You find lots of them. But when you come out, in between, yes, you won't find the staff, so there is nobody to whom you can ask where the lavatory is. But on a very casual basis, usually they're situated quite near, and wherever you open the door of the cinema, come outside in the hall, yes, you find the lavatories over there. We find it with lots of ease, but when he tries to find the lavatory, he doesn't find the lavatory. Instead, he finds himself in one of the alleys. Yes, one of the passages over there, and he is on the opposite side of the self-locking door. Self-locking door, that means you can open from one side. When you open and go to the other side of the door closes behind you, and then there is no knob. Yeah, because in theaters we are allowed with tickets only, right? So if you don't have ticket, you don't have entry, and that is a self-locking door. So now he locks himself out in the alley. There is nobody to help him out, and he has to stand until one of the staff members come, and he has to explain all the things to him, and then he will let him inside again, right? So he is on the other side of the self-locking door because he pushed it open and went to the other side. The door closed behind him, and there is no way to open that door. So we find it quite casual that when we go outside, we usually don't end up like that. We usually find the laboratory or whichever place we are looking for, and we easily go over there. But these things, these small things, he finds it very difficult, and sometimes he is in quite some awkward position over there. My particular specialty now is returning to hotel desk 2 or 3 times a day and asking what my room number is. I am, in short, easily confused. Now, this happens to us also. Yes, we forget whether it is 501 or 601. Yes, whether it is 421 or 425. Right? It happens to us also, but not in this much frequency that this author finds, right? We also go outside. Yes, we usually deposit the keys at hotel desk. Yes, because those keys they're quite weighty, and suppose if we lose it, then it might put us in lots of trouble when we come back to the hotel, right? So we usually deposit the key at the hotel desk. Now he also might have deposited, but then you have no clue what your room number is, right? This may happen to us once in a while, but for the author, it has become his specialty. That means everybody in the hotel now knows that this man comes and gets himself a room, yes, and then he forgets his room number now and then, and again they have to search the records in order to find out what the room number of this particular person is. So now it has become a specialty. The specialty word over here tells us that now he is more acquainted to that. Yes, it has become his specialty. He's very much known for that. My particular specialty now is returning to the hotel desk 2 or 3 times a day. We go out and then we come back. We finish our work and we come back. Again, we stay at the room for a while, and then again we go back, go outside, come back. Now, every time you go, it's rather usually a rule also that for safety purpose, you deposit the hotel desk at the hotel desk your room keys, right? So he used to deposit that, and when he comes back, he has to tell the room number in order to get the key. Now he forgets it, so every time he has to go through a lengthy process. Yes, because the hotel people, they don't hand over the keys to everyone, right? And then you have to supply your name, you have to supply the details that you have given, perhaps an ID. So you have to, now every time it's not possible that you take your ID out with you, right? So you usually don't have any IDs on you, right? Suppose you have gone for a walk or a jog, you don't take your all the things, details with you, right? IDs and all that. So it becomes quite clumsy, it becomes quite awkward for you to prove that you are the person whom you say, and that room belongs to you, and whatever is in that room, and that's your personal property. Yes, and you have rented that room. Every time he has to go through that lengthy process of asking what is my room number, right, one or two times, and then the hotel wala also knows that yes, this person always forgets his room number, right? So he readily supplies, but then that puts you in some quite an awkward situation. I was thinking about this the last time we went and family on a big trip. It was Easter and we were flying to England for a week. When we arrived at the Logan airport in Boston and we were checking in. So I was thinking about this. Now this author had gone with his family on a small trip they had. Easter. Easter is a very good holiday, or you can say vacation time for the Westerners or the people who follow Christianity. Easter is a very special festival for them, and usually people take off from their work and go on a trip with their family and enjoy themselves on the Easter holidays. So I was thinking about this, that if I do go outside, then usually I'll forget my room number, and then I'll have to go through a process for getting back the key, right? So last time when we went and family means with family, on a big trip, come on, because from US to England, then that's a big trip, right? It was Easter, that means the festival time, and we were flying to England for a week. So we decided to go on a very big trip from America to England, and we were supposed to spend a week over there. So I was very worried about that, because I knew my habits, that usually I don't remember the school, the room number, and then I tend to forget it. And every time I want to go back to my room, then I have to literally beg for the keys, because then I forgot my room number. I don't have any IDs on me, and it becomes quite because hotels, they're quite big and they have lots of rooms. Now they cannot attend to each and every customer like that, because it becomes quite clumsy. So usually you provide your number over there, and it's very easy. The hotel desk will find out that key and hand it over to you. But when you don't know your number, then they have to check the records and then give you find out how, okay, this person, he is given this room, okay, this is your room number. So the other person has to go to a length of hard work in order to give you your hotel key. So he was thinking about that when he flew to England for a week. When we arrived at the Logan airport in Boston, we were checking in. I suddenly remembered that I had recently joined British Airways frequent flyer program. Now, uh, at the airport, he remembered one thing, that he had recently joined the British Airlines frequent flyer program. Now, frequent flyer program, those who fly international flights or even domestic ones, is everywhere. The airliners try to um, give a lots of a lots of uh, schemes to the flyers. For example, those who routine, because on a business tour, if he's if he's involved in business, or if he's working at some office where lots of traveling has to be done, so usually they go by air, because the distance is quite big, and in a very short time you have to finish the work and again come back to your office. So you are regularly flying, right? So the airline companies, they now and then they take out some attractive schemes, yes, so that it might be monetarily very helpful to you. Yes, some sort of competition is there with the different so now and then the companies, they come up with some attractive schemes to lure the customers. Yes, so one such program is usually the frequent flyer program. That means the number of hours that you fly, you will be given some concession on the next ticket. Yes, suppose from Mumbai to Delhi, it is 2 hours, 2.5 hours, right? So when you fly one time, that 2.5 hours will be accounted for. Next time you come back from Delhi to Mumbai, that is again 2.5 hours. So again, now total flying hours in that particular company yes, airline is 5 hours. Now, if you complete 20 hours, then some concession will be given to you, for example, 5%, 10%, right? So that way, frequent flyer programs, those who frequently fly here and there for their work, right? It's very good for them, these type of schemes, because then they will get concession out of it. Suppose you fly in, 20 hours, or suppose you fly 50 hours, then they'll give you lots of concession. Suppose we get 50% off on the tickets. We know they're quite costly, expensive tickets are there, right? Or once in a while you'll be getting, instead of the you'll get a business class, right? You'll get an executive class for say 50%. So that is very good for the flyers. So he had recently joined the frequent flyers program. I also remembered that I had put the card in carry-on bag that was hanging around my neck, and here's where the trouble started. Now, he remembered that I had recently joined the frequent flyers program, and that card that is supplied with it, he had it in the bag, carry-on bag. Carry-on bag, you just put it around our neck, and that was hanging around my neck. So it is just a matter of opening the zip, taking out the card, producing over there. Now, whole of the family is flying, so all the members, their flight hours will be counted together. So that is going to increase his flying hours, right? So that way he want to take the advantage of all the flying hours from America to England. So that's very good, right? So he was having that card. He remembered that he had that card in that carry-on bag that was hanging around his neck, and that is where the trouble started. Now, what is that trouble? The zip on the bag was jammed. It happens all the time. Yes, it happens with your school bag also. Yes, all of a sudden, yes, you close the zip with such a hurry that you don't remember at that time, or you don't think about it at that time, but next time when you want to open the zip, it gets stuck. That is called jam. Yes, it won't open up. So I pulled on it and yanked at it. Yanked, pulled. Yes, yank and pull, both the same thing. Yanked at it gives a sudden jerk. Sometimes it works, right? Sometimes it doesn't, and whole of the zip is off, or either it opens up wrong, right? So the small zip that was on the carry-on bag, it got jammed. So he was pulling at it, the tag that is, pull tag that is there, right? So he was pulling at it and he was yanking on it. Now, what happens if you try to open it normally? It gets stuck, it is jammed, right? So what happens is you apply some force on it, yes, 1 or 2 times. Then you get frustrated and you start pulling at it and jerking it, yanking it. That is it. With grunts and frowns and increasing consternation. Yes, now you're annoyed with that, you're irritated with that thing. So what happens is, yes, small sounds start coming out of your mouth, yes, out of your throat, yes, yeah, you do that. So that are the frowns and grunts and increasing consternation, that is irritation. I kept this up for some minutes, but it won't budge. Yes, I kept on because it was a small carry bag. So what happens is, it has a very small zip, and you apply too much force, then whole of the thing is going to pull out, right? So he did that for a few minutes, but he wasn't getting any success. It won't budge. Budge means it won't give away, right? It won't just open up. It won't move. Budge means, wouldn't budge means it won't just move from there. So I pulled harder and harder with more grunts. So now he was getting frustrated. He was also getting angry that such a small zip is causing lots of trouble. So he was pulling on harder and harder and trying with more and more force, and lots of sounds were coming out of his mouth. That's called grunts. Well, you can guess what happened. Now we know a small thing. Yes, okay, if it's a big bag, yes, with a zip, then it is very steadfastly, it is tailored over there, right? Stitched over there. So now what happens is, you don't apply for whatever force you apply on a very big bag which has a zip. With whatever force you try to open it, it won't just budge. But that is not the same for small bags. For example, the pencil pouch that you have, right? It's a very small thing and a very delicate zip is over there. If you try to pull it out with lots of force, either that zip tag is going to break away, right, leaving you with nothing to pull out, or simply whole of the zip will tear away from the pencil pouch, right? So you can guess what happened. What happens is all of a sudden the zip is going to give away. That means it's not going to open, but the stitches will come out, and all the things that are in the carry-on bag, they're going to spill out. So abruptly the zip gave away. Gave away means did not open, but it got torn from the bag. Abruptly the zip gave way, the side of the bag flew open and everything within. Now he was applying lots of force, that means in opposite direction. Yes, if you are a righty, then you pull the zip with your right hand, and opposite you try to pull the bag on the left side. So two actions are going in the opposite. All of a sudden what happens is the zip gives way, that means the zip got torn away. So the zip is in your hand and the bag with open mouth. That means the top of the bag is now open, the zip is not there. And so what happens, all of a sudden with lots of force, whatever was inside the bag spills outside. Abruptly the zip gave way, the side of the bag flew open, and everything within, whatever it was, newspaper cutting and other loose papers, 114-ounce tin of pipe tobacco, magazine, passport, English money, whatever was inside it. Yes, one by one, let's count it. Newspaper cutting, because he was, he's an author, right? So he has taken lots of newspaper cutting for later use, so that he can remembers them properly, and he finds it in his bag whenever he wants to work, even on the airplane. Yes, when people get bored because of the long flight, you can always open your small carry-on bag that you have around your neck. You can pull it open, yes, zip open, and you can take out those newspaper cuttings, make your own article, right? For that thing he had cut lots of newspapers and taken out those articles and put it in his. So all those things, all those newspaper cutting flew out. Other loose papers also, some of the loose paper, we keep chits and bits, right, in purse, right, some bills or something like that. So loose papers were there, that also flew out. A 14-ounce tin of pipe tobacco. The pipe tobacco is, we have that smoking pipe, right? So tobacco is filled on the open end, and so that is that pipe tobacco. So 14 ounce of pipe tobacco, the tin was there, that also flew out. Magazines were there, passport, English money, that is pounds were there, because they came from US. So they must have exchanged that at the airport from dollars to pounds. So English money was also there. Film. English money, film, yeah, film rolls, right? Because in those days they didn't have digital cameras, so they took the films. Was extravagantly ejected over an area about the size of a tennis court. Now, airport areas, they're quite big, yes, and depends upon the traffic over there. But usually, off and as you find when one or two planes arrive, there might be some commotion. Otherwise, that's quite quiet and calm area when there is no flight over there. People, those who are waiting, or those who might have come early, they are there, but otherwise, now, all of a sudden, the things in the bag spilled out, and it spread in an area equivalent to a tennis court. That means it was quite a big area, right, where the things got spilled. So whole of the family, they have to leave their luggage and try to again get together all the things that got spilled out, and extravagantly ejected. Ejected means all of a sudden threw outside from the bag. Extravagantly, in very lavish manner. That means it was not just nearby one or two tiles, but it spread in quite a big area, the size of a tennis court. I watched dumbstruck as 100 carefully sorted documents came raining down in a fluttery cascade, right? So I just was, now all of a sudden I jerked it open, right, and zip gave way, and it just got torn, and whatever was inside, first thing it is flew in the air, right? I was dumbstruck. I couldn't believe what I did, right? Whole of the documents, newspapers, and small bits of papers and chits and all that. Suddenly, carefully sorted out. He kept it all sorted out, yes, in the pockets, etc. Or he must have it in a bundle, yes, carefully stored over there because they just need to be taken out carefully. Now, all of those things just flew in the air, came raining down because it came flew in the air, and then all the sheaves of paper will become separate, so it is now raining down in fluttery cascade is that sheet of rain which comes, so just like that way it looked as if the papers were raining down in sheets, right? Coins bound to a variety of noisy oblivions. Coins, when they fall down on the floor, they have a tendency to roll and go into crevices and cracks and places, especially where your hands can't reach. Yes, you will have to bend down and search for that coin. Usually people give up because they can't see it. First thing is it becomes flat on the right, they are not standing, right, they become flat. So what happens is, when you are on the floor level, your eyes on the floor level, you usually cannot find the coin because it is also flat, the tiles are also flat, right? So now, noisy oblivion means into places that are hidden from eyesight, and you just can't imagine where those coins went. So lots of coins that were kept inside, they just um, they were thrown up in the air, and they all landed differently, making quite a hell of noise, and they rolled and went into secret hiding places, noisy oblivions. And now, lidless tin of tobacco rolled crazily across the concourse, disgorging its content as it went. Now, that tobacco tin, yes, it must have leapt in the air and then fallen to the ground due to gravity. And when it fell down, the lid came off, and now the tobacco, that tin was still rolling. Yes, but when the lid came out, what happens is the tobacco was now pouring out on the floor, right? So now, lidless tin of tobacco, it went in the air and fell down, so the lid came off, and the tin was rolled crazily across the concourse, whole of that tiles, disgorging, spilling its contents as it were, because now the lid is not there, so the tobacco, now the lid is not there, so the tin is open and it's rolling. So when it rolls, the contents, that the tobacco, keep spilling on the floor. My tobacco, I cried in horror. Yes, I didn't believe what was happening over there. All the papers flying in the air, lots of coins. Yes, all my passport and English money, everything was flying in the air. But he was more worried about his tobacco. I cried in horror. Now 14 ounces of tobacco is rolling on the ground and spilling inside. Now you can't just collect that and again use it. Thinking what I would have to pay for that much tobacco in England, it might be very costly in England. Tobacco might be very costly in England. It was easily available and with less cost in America. But now for that same tin, he will have to pay huge more, because now the tobacco is on the ground, on the floor, tiles, and you cannot just gather it and use it again. So he just have to forget it. So he was he was crying out in disbelief what he saw in front of him. Now that another budget had come and gone and changed the cry to my finger. Now that budget wala is regarding that tobacco. Now the new budget had just come, so every time, all the tobacco products, especially all the governments all over the world, they keep on increasing the taxes that are paid for using tobacco. So tobacco products in every new budget, the prices of that tobacco and tobacco products always go up by 1 or 2%, right? So the budget had just been released in England, and it is going to be more difficult because now he will have to pay heavily for that same small tin of tobacco because of the new budget and the increase in taxes on the tobacco products. So he has to pay more, and then change the cry. Now suddenly I became aware that while I was trying to unzip the small bag, I had cut my finger, and the changed the cry to my finger, as I discovered that I had gassed my finger on the zip and was shedding blood in lavish manner. Now, uh, when we are not able to open the zip, usually what we do is we catch hold of that zip and try to pull with as much force as possible. So our fingers are usually on the top of the zip, and when the zip opens all of a sudden, yes, there you'll find a cut, because your finger will get cut over there, and blood was profusely flowing out of that cry. Now that is the same word that is used over here, and my finger, that I had cut my finger on the zip, and that means the skin of the finger must have come under the zip and must have gashed, cut, and was shedding blood. Shedding lots of blood was spilling in a lavish manner. Lavish means in quite extravagant way. That means quite a lot. Yes, from a small cut, lots of blood was coming out. I'm not very good around flowing blood generally, but when it's my own, well, I think histories are full justified. Yes, we see lots of crime on the TVs. We see lots of crimes on in the movies, TV serials, and all that. Yes, and there is lots of killing, etc. Lots of blood spilled on the screen, right? So we nowadays, after a lot of viewing of all these things, we are not that much overcome by what we see on the screen. Yes, when there is lots of bloodshed over there, right? Fighting going on, lots of people get hurt, bullets are sprayed, lots of people are killed. We just take it quite naturally, quite casually, right? So I'm not worried about that much. I'm not very good around flowing blood generally. I don't like viewing those scenes where there is lots of blood on the scene, so I'm not good at that. But when it comes to your own blood, yes, you don't like it, right? You come in a state of shock, and perhaps you become too nervous when you see your own blood. Even you cut your finger, all of a sudden you get in a state of shock. Oh, lots of blood is coming out. What will I do? No, you get so much irritated by that thing, and you become nervous by that thing because your blood is flowing out. So, well, I think hysterics are fully justified. Yes, you get shocked looking at your own blood. Many people don't like that. Yes, many people might not even have seen it, their own blood spilling out, and they get quite nervous and they form into hysterics. Hysterics means in quite an agitated manner. They look for some cotton or some cloth. Or yes, how to stop that blood flow from the body. It's a loss. Yes, your own blood is oozing out of it, and that's a blood loss. And people looking at it, they get quite frightened, and that is that hysterics that we are talking about. Confused and unable to help, my hair went into panic mode. Right? What is panic mode? Panic mode is when you are in a state of panic. That is panic mode. When panic mode happens, yes, whole of your body is in a state of your shock, and usually the hair starts standing on the end when you are so much shocked you don't know what to do. So I was totally confused and unable to help the situation. Yes, and my hair, they went into a state of panic. It was at this point that my wife looked at me with an expression of wonder, not anger or exasperation, but just simply wonder, and said, "I can't believe you do this for a living." On the other side, we have the author's wife, who is in total control of herself, right? And even after such a lot of things has happened in front of her, she is so calm and cool. Yes, she doesn't even raise an eye. She doesn't even stand up to help. And she's totally dumbstruck in the way the husband is behaving, right? And that's a public place, right? So you get a little bit embarrassed over there, that all the people are looking. Yes, this person is fumbling uh, with the zip of his bag, and all of a sudden the zip opens up and spills everything inside out, right? And now it's quite a big loss to him. Yes, because now he has to go on collecting papers. Maybe collecting papers here and then must have flown, right? Some people will try to help you out, right? And it's quite a clumsy situation that you are in. So the wife is just quietly looking at the husband. Yes, expression of wonder. It's not an expression, it has not happened for the first time, right? It happens on a regular basis with the author, and the wife is quite aware of it. So it is not amazement, or it's not wonder, oh, this has happened with you. No, it's always happening. So she is keeping her cool, she is keeping very quiet, and just looking at the husband, not anger or exasperation. It's not anger, she's not angry at the husband, right? She knows, of course, husband is like this, right? He always does this clumsy things in the public, and he forgets to do these things, gets to do the, or does something which is not quite appropriate, yes, in public places. So it's the tendency of his of her husband, and she knows it very well. So she's not angry at the husband or of exasperation, but simply wonder. She's just simply wondering, she's amazed, surprised. Do you do these things for a living, right? What? Spraying out all the things from your bag and then trying to run after it and collect it. Usually, do you do these things for living? Students, will stop over here for the day. Thank you, students. So the author goes on to say that I'm afraid it is so. I have always catastrophes when I travel. Catastrophes, there are accidents, yes, destructive accidents, or something of destruction, that's called a catastrophe. Yes, some horrible thing happens to you, that's called catastrophe. It's quite a lot of destruction, right? But I'm afraid so, right? This, my wife says, yes, I don't believe that you are doing this, right? It should not be you. Yes, you should be quietly sitting. If the zip doesn't open, and ask the help. The wife is there, children are there, somebody will open it for you. Yes, this is not the way that you spill the items of your bag all over the airport, and then everybody is running either to collect them. So you shouldn't be behaving in such a way. But I'm afraid that I am like that. And I always have catastrophes when I travel. Whenever I travel, I always find myself in these destructive situation, in this horrible accidents that happen with me. Now, they're not injuries, they are not harmful, but then he embarrasses himself and others in front of everybody. Once on an aeroplane, now he goes on to say some other things also, some other catastrophic accidents that happen, destructive some very delicate situation that he puts himself in. Once on an aeroplane, I leaned over to tie a shoelace. Just at the moment, someone in the seat ahead of me threw his seat back in full recline. Now, it happens, yes, there's not that, of course, airplanes, they do have a lots of space, sitting space or leg space in between them. Yes, in economic class, the leg space is not that much. So, while on an airplane, traveling on an airplane, he must have noticed that the lace had become untied, and he bent over. While sitting, he bent over. Now you can visualize the scene. Yes, he was reclining in his seat, and all of a sudden must have noticed that one of the shoelace has come off. So in that sitting posture, he bends over and he is tying his shoelace. The seat in front, the person must have reclined that, pull off the lever so that the backrest of the seat, it falls behind, and you can adjust, you want to go to sleep or lie down. So what happens is that full recline, the seat in front, the person must have just pulled the lever, and the seat was reclining in full. That means now the seat is over the author's back, and the author can't stand up. Now how is he supposed to ask help from somebody, because he can't get up, right? So in the seat ahead of me, threw his seat back into full recline, and found myself pinned helplessly in crash position. Now, in airlines, it usually happens when there is lots of turbulence. Yes, whole of the aircraft is shaking, right, going up and down a little bit altitude, it catches or it has to go down because of the turbulence. So those things happen, and usually it's not turbulence keep on happening in the airplane. Yes, and sometimes the people are advised to go in crash position. Right, crash position is, that means you have to put your head near your knees and be ready so that if there is an impact, yes, that cuddling position helps you in saving yourself. So now he was bent over and tying his shoelace, so he was literally in a crash position, and the seat ahead of him was over his back, so he cannot get up. Now, how is he supposed to tell even the person who was sitting in front of him that you please again pull off that recline so that I can again stand up? It was only by clawing the leg of the man sitting next to me that I managed to get myself freed. Now, maybe the person next to him, the author, he must have gone to sleep, or either he's looking out of the window, or he's doing on his own reading or listening work, or something like that. But he doesn't know that this accident has happened. So he doesn't have literally any way. So he must have crawled his fingers to the to the neighbor's seat, and the person, he must have caught the shoelace or caught his legs and jerked it, so that the person all of a sudden becomes aware, yes, what is at my feet, and he sees that the person sitting next to him is stuck over there, yes, in crash position, because the seat in the front is reclined fully, and there is no space for him to get up. So then he comes to help. Yes, then he tells the person sitting, oh, please, again, lessen the recline so that the person can stand up. He's got stuck over there. So he got help by pulling the leg of the person sitting next to him. Yes, please help me, I'm stuck over here. So again, it's a very small thing, it's a very small accident, but he puts himself into jeopardy, he puts himself into trouble whenever he's traveling. Otherwise, he's quite a normal person. On other occasion, I knocked a soft drink onto the lap of a sweet lady. These things keep on happening on the airplane. When the airplane takes off, it's leveled, got an altitude. Yes, usually food and drinks are served on the airplane as soon as it is airborne and leveled itself. That means it's going towards its direction. Yes, so that is when the air hostesses, they come, the crew, the staff comes out and starts serving people with breakfast or lunch or soft drinks, chocolates, etc. So that welcome drink might have been served over there on the plane, and the author knocked off the drink that was in the lady's hand onto her lap. Sweet little lady sitting beside him, right? So a sweet little lady was sitting beside the author, and the author accidentally might have jerked all of a sudden his hands, and the elbow might have touched the glass or the hand in which the lady had caught the drink, and must have spilled all of that liquid or all of that soft drink on the lady's lap. Now, that's quite an embarrassing situation, because all of your luggage is in the rear of the plane, and you don't carry extra clothing with you on flight, right? So that's quite a clumsy situation. Sometimes, no, mostly these people, they are on the business tour, and as soon as they get off the plane, they have to reach their destination, their workplace. Yes, so it's very clumsy. Then the clothes are spoiled, and then how are you going to attend the meeting or conference that you are going to? So it's quite an awkward situation, and whole of the ladies' clothing, they are wet with the soft drink. So it's a very clumsy situation. Yes, an embarrassing one also. The flight attendant came and cleaned her up. Yes, the flight attendant came and cleaned the small lady right over there, whatever possible means, and brought me a replacement drink. Yes, now my drink was lost, or perhaps the lady's drink was lost, whatever. So now we didn't have drink, so he brought an replacement drink. That means another one free, because it was poured out. And I instantly knocked it on to the woman again. Yes, no sooner was the drink handed to me, then I again must have troubled my hand somewhere, and again the drink spilled on the lady. To this day, I don't know how I did it. Very good sentence written by the author. Now, yes, you are trying to drink cup of glass over there, yeah, cup of tea, a glass of water or a cup of tea, right? And you drop that, suppose it's soft drink, you drop your soft drink on the person sitting next to you. Yes, now you already said sorry so many times, you tried to clean up, right? You did everything, and then you have another soft drink, and then you again drop it. It's a very, very embarrassing situation. And to this day, the author keeps on thinking, what the hell did I do that for, and how did I do that? You can make a mistake once, you cannot repeatedly make the mistake two times in such a position, in such a way. Yes, you are now you're not embarrassed, you should be totally shameful on you, right? You should be ashamed of what you did. And the most interesting thing is, the author still keeps on wondering, how did I do that? How did I spill soft drink two times on the lady, right? Without the lady's fault. It was not the lady. Yes, the lady did not jerk all of a sudden. I did that, and I forgot that the soft drink was in my hand. I spilled it once. Okay, yes, I'm sorry for that. I'm really very sorry. And the lady also says, okay, ho gaya, chalo. And the flight attendant came and cleaned it up and give you a replacement drink. Replacement drink, because now that one time is free. But next time you want it, you got to pay it for, right? So that thing is not there. Now the author did not have the drink, so it was replaced, right? So replacement drink also you spilled on her, right? So till date he doesn't know how I did it. I just remember reaching out for the new drink and must have fumbled. Yes, it happens. Yes, all the while. Yes, your attention is not there. Someone hands you a drink, you think you have got it. The other person also thinks that you have got it. He releases it and you don't catch it. It's simple. Yes, and the drink falls to the ground, spilling its content, splashing its contents. Everybody standing over there. Perhaps if the person is seated, then he might spill it on himself and people sitting adjacent to him, right? So these things keep on happening. Thank you, students, for the day.